It's exciting to watch.
And what it all means to you.
You can't help but just say, wow.
Drama, passion, suspense, tropospheric undulations. Every night on Weather Center PM.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, the lower Mississippi Valley and Southern Plains could be under fire tonight. Good evening. Welcome to Weather Center. I'm Christina Abernathy.
And I'm Sharon Resulton. We have had severe weather warnings really for much of the afternoon and now into the evening for parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and now Texas. And this is all kind of popping up as we speak. We're going to take a closer look at some of the conditions. And first off, the areas where you need to be particularly careful this evening, as strong to severe weather threat may be a part of your likelihood here into the Dallas area, maybe into Houston later on. Little rocks and storms are heading toward you, as well as around Hot Springs and even into the Big Easy. We may be talking about the potential for some stronger thunderstorms. There are the look at the watches now, and we do find some severe thunderstorm watches again extending across southern Indiana into western Kentucky, much of central and northern Arkansas, portion of Oklahoma across the Red River into Texas, and then one lone tornado watch into east central Texas. And we will continue to monitor the situation very closely as we go into the next several hours. Let's go ahead and take an even closer look at this stormy night. The Weather Channel's own Jim Cantori is live in Norman, Oklahoma with special details from the Storms Prediction Center. Jim?
Hey Sharon, the Storm Prediction Center, what is it? This is the area where you get your first-hand look at the convection, the thunderstorms that are going to develop. These guys look at the situation, they look at the atmosphere a couple of days ahead and give us an outline of where things are going to go and give you an idea of the certain risks that are involved during the day. We saw that this morning. We talked about the areas that had slight and moderate risk, and now, just in the last hour or two, we've seen some tornado watches come out in Texas. Well, let's go ahead and talk to Steve Corfidi. He's the lead meteorologist tonight who issued the latest tornado watch. And Steve, you're looking ahead even beyond this now at a possible watch later on tonight.
Well, that's right, Jim. We're looking at to set up the watch box scenario for the overnight hours into the late evening hours. This watch right here is a tornado watch we issued about an hour ago now, and you can see the storm which started here south of Dallas is split, and there's Dallas right here, and it's split into two storms, one of which is heading east-northeast, one of which is heading southeast. This already produced golf ball hail here in the last half hour, and it has shown some rotation. So we do have a splitting supercell situation here, and it looks like during the later night hours, this area in northeast Texas from Longview over towards Shreveport and perhaps down about halfway down toward the Gulf Coast is going to be under the gun with the greatest threat for hail and perhaps high winds and maybe an isolated tornado.
To our normal non-meteorological viewer, this is probably a little complicated, but we can point out, here's the tornado watch which is currently in effect across Texas. But you have outlined some things, and what's nice about your computer is you can actually overlay different parameters that you're looking at for severe weather. Tell us what you're looking at here, what you're concentrating in on.
Okay, very good. The blue lines you see here are telling us where the winds are converging or coming together near the surface, right at the ground. And of course, since a thunderstorm is an updraft, it requires a continued influx of air coming together near the ground. And this axis from the northeast corner of Texas, roughly west-southwest to about halfway between Waco and San Antone, is an axis of convergence. It's a developing front near the ground. The green lines tell us how much energy is available for storm updrafts, and the larger the numbers, you see 3,000 here, 2,500, 3,000. This shows where the air is not only very moist near the ground, but also that the temperatures are decreasing very rapidly with height, so that if you give a chunk of air, a parcel of air a boost, it will continue to rise. And again, thunderstorms being updrafts need that ascent to continue and sustain themselves. So the higher the numbers, typically that's where we have the greatest potential for severe weather.
All right, thank you very much, Steve Perfidy, again, lead meteorologist tonight. And folks, I want to tell you right now, these folks are not taking time away from watching the weather just to give us special coverage. They are definitely keeping an eye on it, and I'm making sure that we're planning this right so we get the time, their time, which is, you know, a break or whatnot, away from all this. But we're not taking time out of them potentially issuing a watch box. Anyway, what's happening for the rest of the nation? Let's go back and find out with Sharon Rizal.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jim Cantori, and we'll be checking back with Jim in 30 minutes. If you were listening closely, Jim and Steve were both talking about the convergence around Waco, Texas. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for that particular cell into McClellan County. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map here. And again, there are all the elements coming together, and you can kind of get an idea of where the strong storms are so far. Everything kind of developing ahead of our cold front. Severe thunderstorms have been stretching all the way from portions of southeastern Missouri, now into west central portions of Arkansas, and now starting to see things pop as we head on into central portions of Texas. Dew points are quite high, looking at dew points in the lower and middle 60s, for instance, into much of eastern Texas. And even when you get them into the 50s, it can be fairly marginal, but there certainly are enough other ingredients, as Steve and Jim explained, to get some of these thunderstorms popping across the region. There's a look at the satellite perspective. You can kind of get a feel for the line of storms and some of the lone thunderstorms, but strong supercells that are developing now into Texas. A wide view of the radar, and now we zoom in a little bit closer. And again, heading into McClellan County, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. There are the two supercells kind of breaking apart, one heading to the north and east-northeast, and the other one heading southeast. So watch it in and around the Waco area. Also into Little Rock and Hot Springs as we go into Yell County. Some wind damage reported there. These are all moving to the southeast now, and they will be heading on into Little Rock and Hot Springs as we get toward the top of the hour, so keep that in mind. Northward we go, up around the Evansville area, and a lot of cool air aloft up here, and